Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost for the club, everybody involved in the club, it's a great moment. It's going to be a great night. It's something that we've set our aspirations for in the beginning of the season, and it's really, it's a really great, I would say, feeling and buzz inside our whole organization, top to bottom, commercial side, everybody. It's a kind of a unique opportunity where everybody comes for one, with the opportunity to earn our way into a final, which gets us one step closer to trying to lift the trophy here. So that's our full focus as the team. In terms of Philadelphia, yeah, you're looking at a really well-coached team, almost like a well-oiled machine, right? Great depth in their squad, very clear ideas on what they want to do with and without the ball, very consistent across the whole season, both in MLS play and Open Cup. We've had the opportunity to play them twice, and we're expecting a really competitive game at GEODIS, where we hope to get as much fan support as we can, because we know that when we get that place rocking, it's a difficult place for the opponent to play.
Thanks, Coach. Corey?
You played really well against Philly this year. What about the match has been good for you guys?
No, I think you see two teams that have some similarities in the way that they want to play. And two teams that like to compete and play with intensity, and I think that brings out the best out of both of us. And both games were different situations and sort of scenarios. And again, I think when you put everything on the line in a semifinal kind of win or go home type of mentality, you're going to see the best performance from each team.
And I don't know what your lineup is going to be, but Gaston seems to be emerging more and more in your lineup. And coming off of the MVP performance that he had last year, is he a guy you lean on at this point of the year to help propel this team forward, both in this tournament and in the MLS?
Yeah, certainly you see Gaston's qualities, right? He's a guy that can play multiple passes, play balls behind the back line, really open up teams. So I think that's been his qualities for a long time. And then you have the mentality of that he's played in big games. He's played in big games. He's performed in big games. So of course, it's not just Gaston. We have a lot of guys that are here, have come in, that have played in big games, and yeah, you have to rely on those experiences. There's a lot of expect the unexpected in games like this, and when you can fall back on past experiences, it helps you kind of stay level-headed.
BJ, I guess it's been 13, going on 14 months since you stepped in here, and where the team was at that point to being at this place, two wins away from silverware. Can you speak to how far they've come, and maybe it's not the full vision at this point, but pretty good steps in the last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we came in, there was a lot of good here. We wanted to build upon that. You have to give a lot of credit to the players that are here, that have put in the work and the togetherness that they show, and the commitment to putting in consistent performances. And most importantly, we're all proud in this organization. It's that kind of doing what you say you want to do, and when you want to go after trophies, we've put ourselves in position to do it, and that's what we're really proud about. But the job's not finished. We have to be able to step up on Tuesday night and perform.
And along those lines, you balance a very busy calendar and lineups through different competitions and where maybe focuses are at different points of the calendar. But now you get to this point, and you're literally 2 wins away from that first trophy. How does the intensity raise and maybe the focus increase when you get to the semifinal level of Open Cup?
Yeah, I mean, the Open Cup is just again, I said it from the beginning, it's something that we take serious. It's a historical tournament, the oldest trophy in the country, and for us to have an opportunity to lift that and put our name on that, that's motivating. It's something that we've talked about, how it can be historical, and but we have Philadelphia in front of us to even just get to the final. So the full focus is there. The focus is there to make sure that everybody's prepared to play the role that they're called upon to try and get the result.
Jacob.
BJ, the Open Cup is one of 3 trophies that you're still, in the running for at this point in the year. I guess, how helpful is it to have, these single elimination Open Cup games, so close to the playoffs in October?
I mean, I think anytime you can get experience playing in big games and pressure games, then that's going to make your team stronger. And so we relish every opportunity to get those to get those moments. And we know Tuesday night will be a big game feel, and we expect to be able to compete at the highest level.
And Johnny Perez, I know, came off after 20 minutes against Cincinnati. I guess what is his maybe status for Tuesday?
Yes, we don't have it's a quad. With quad injuries, you have to wait a little bit to get, I would say, a formal diagnosis. But he'll get some imaging, and we'll have sort of a clearer picture to give you.
BJ, you already stated that these teams are very intense and it's similar in the way they play. If the game was to stalemate into a defensive battle there in the middle, do you think your team has more advantages than they do?
No, I think we've shown across this season that we can play in different ways. It's something that we take pride in, that we're adaptable. I think we have good ideas in different phases of play. So, however the game plays out, we think that we at least are prepared and have had experiences across the regular season and the Open Cup to be able to try to exploit opportunities in whatever phase kind of presents itself as maybe that moment.
Now, how difficult it is to incorporate any quick lessons that you might have learned from Saturday's game into this game with such a short time?
Yeah, obviously there's not a lot of training on the field, so we spend more time in the video room, but we certainly addressed and reviewed the Cincinnati game. So to kind of close it before we move on. We have to always look back. We always have to take the learning moments from those games because they could be critical to the next match. So, we were able to spend some time with the team to do that, and now, move forward.
What?
Yeah, the results haven't been there recently. What is the mood in the locker room, and what are you and your staff doing to affect that? Yes.
I think when you talk about the mood, it's fully focused. I think the guys, we're not a team that goes up and down emotionally with results. We stay pretty anchored to the middle line. We understand we have a good way of working here. So I think you see really a professional mentality. And we understand how much this Open Cup semifinal means. So full focus on there. From the coaching staff, we continue to try and simplify everything as easy as we can. So because we know when the players have that clear roles and responsibilities, they'll be able to express themselves and execute.
Knowing this is a one-off match that's coming up tomorrow, Philadelphia goes to Vancouver and have a not a great result, and then you guys go to Cincinnati and kind of have that last-minute thing. How much does that affect tomorrow's game, or is it just a clean slate because it's a one-off match?
Yeah, I think you see in our business, you're able to compartmentalize things, and I don't think there's much effect, or you're going to take much from Saturday night's results for either team as having an impact on the type of performance you're going to see on Tuesday night by both teams. I think we're all been in this game long enough that you can put things aside and you can focus everything on trying to get one win. That's all you're looking for to move on.
Yeah, Alex and Jason missed, I guess, the Cincinnati game. It looked like with illness. How are they doing before tomorrow? And are there any concerns that of other guys being impacted with something similar?
They're both back in full team training. They actually were able to train on Saturday when we were in Cincinnati. It was obviously out of some, I would say, more precaution to lead you to the second part of that question is to try to mitigate anything that spreads. And so far, there's nothing to report from that.
And then I asked Patrick a similar question, but it feels like you came in and installed kind of like a top-down vision of kind of the club from Nashville to Huntsville to the academy. Obviously, winning trophies is a huge part of that. How important would getting the first trophy be, not just to kind of validate the work that's already gone into it, but kind of to springboard future success?
Yeah, for us, we're in the winning business. So, I think it's about that's what we compete for. And, for us, yes, the bigger picture is, Nashville 2.0, how can we align all of our properties so that, we're benefiting everybody that's inside our ecosystem. But at the same time, this group that we have here deserves the respect that, we are about, winning this trophy for the first team and for the club. And, we talk about writing chapter 6, and this is another sort of piece of that story that this group, who the 2025 team's contribution to the club is, and that's kind of how we're, that's what we're focused on right now.
Any other questions, guys?
BJ, Patrick talks about how valuable home field can be and how good the Castle can be. And we've seen over time some of the best matches there and atmospheres have been in these one-off knockout style games. How big of an advantage can being at home tomorrow night be, and how much does the crowd hopefully need to help you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we know that we play well at home, not only historically, but, this year too. We have a team that we've built that is embodying the spirit of the city. And so, yeah, the more people that show up to these games, the louder and more intense that stadium is. It's a help for us, and it's difficult for the opponent to play. So they play a huge role in everything we do. And then when you magnify it with a knockout game that could go 120 minutes, you have to be prepared for that. When you need to sort of dig a little deep and get that hand on the back of your shoulders there to push you a little bit further, it's nice to have that home crowd behind you.
All right, thank you guys, appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you,
guys.
BJ.
Thanks, guys.